Hi everyone, this is John from AU Pack Mule, aka the OG of Westeros, and today I'm going to do a solo live stream for day number 20. Something I haven't done yet, so I thought it would be kind of interesting. I didn't have a guest plan, so tomorrow for day 21, we're going to start with Angelina Ahai, and she's a commenter commonly seen in our live streams. And she is a Tolkien expert. I got a chance to talk to her on Hangouts, and really enjoyed our conversation. So we're looking forward to bringing you some Tolkien knowledge and understanding of what's going on. We're going to transition basically between the Silmarillion and the Hobbit, the beginning before the Lord of the Rings, and kind of explain some things, and then try to get a transition between the similarities between the two stories, the Game of Thrones and the yes, thanks, Ian, and the Game of Thrones series, because obviously Tolkien is a huge influence on George R. R. Martin, and really I've enjoyed seeing those transitions as we've gone through the story. Angelina is in London, so when you hear her talk, you'll understand the passion that she has for the Tolkien family, as well as the story. I think that the history and the nuance of that is brought by her passion for the story itself. So I hope you enjoy that. We've got some great stuff already planned, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. Want to say hi to everybody that's in the chat, everybody that's coming later. Thank you as well for watching. But right now we've got quite a few people here, so I want to make sure I acknowledge them. We've got Jay Cruz, who was here first, Michael, Biotic Flux, Iron Trone, Alicia Kingston, T-Baby. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I've gotten an awful lot of new subscribers too. They have really surprised me. I was totally shocked. I'm almost at 200, and I just really am very happy. So Anita Hansen's a new subscriber, Zelda Young, DJ Taylor, and I apologize for not getting this right, but Aloha Ani sounds very very Hawaiian. So that's really cool. Quite a few others, but Pinklash 007, Forrest Lass, David Reacts, TMK 2014. Sounds like a technical creature of some sort. The Quiet Wolf, 1998 champions, Silver Imp, Eric Elgrich. Thank you very much for subscribing. Cardicosa 7, appreciate that. Column, Radio Westeros. Septa Shayna Sapphires, who is Sir Stefan. I talked a little bit about him day before yesterday with Laura McCauley. He has some new videos that are out, so make sure you check out his channel as well. Speaking of checking out channels, T-Baby and Alicia Kingston always doing great stuff. Yeah, glad to watch all of your stuff too. So really good. The other night I was watching the She Wolves and Sword in the Darkness, who's also a subscriber, mentioned about Lewin going to, when he was killed, before he died, he was actually dragged himself to the weirwoods. And I thought when I read that comment that she made that it was just a TV show, because they have that dramatic weirwood with the pond and red leaves, etc. But going back and reading over it, it definitely was in the books exactly like that. I don't think it could have been any more perfect. He's, he knows he's going to die. He drags himself over to the weirwood. For what reason? I mean, wouldn't you drag yourself into where it's safe? And then the kids find him, and he asked the kids to take off with Hodor, and then yeah, I love you too, Alicia. Thank you. So Osha kills him, and it's like all of his blood is sucked up by the werewoods, and it just seems like a really cool, situation where we're going to possibly get some of his story. He comes from uh, River Run with Caitlin and Rob, and so maybe we'll see some of that story. Just a really cool thing that I never have thought of, and I've never heard of being brought up before. So, kudos for her. One of the things I wanted to ask you on this live stream is, what's your favorite resource? I was doing some research on our Tolkien video for tomorrow and found a couple of great YouTube channels. Um, just leave it in the comments in the chat. And if you watch this later on, put those in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. When you're doing your Game of Thrones research, have you ever done anything other than just Googling a phrase or something like that? Or do you actually go to like the towerofthehand.com, or do you type in YouTube and then search there? Or do you just go right to one of our regular resources like westeros.org? And then how do you check that information with what's accurate versus um, what they are just describing? One of the things that I've been interested in lately is, when you do your POVs, how do you verify that that's actually the accurate information, or is this um, just that person's point of view and it's wrong, and you're taking it for granted? Sam 009 just joined us. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. She did a great video or live stream last night. I think it was about 13 hours until 1 o'clock in the morning or something Eastern time. So Broke Black Man was on that with me, and we had a good time. But he's like, I don't understand the questions. Yeah, that was a pretty epic stream. Good for you, Sam. So the other question I wanted to ask is, why is Ghost silent? I don't understand at all why Ghost is the only one. I know he's different. He's albino. He's got red eyes, et cetera, et cetera. But what's the reason why he's not able to speak or bark or growl? It just seems awfully strange that he is John's um, counterpart. And I just think it's an awful interesting thing that George puts on Ghost as a characteristic. I was thinking maybe it was because John won't have a voice in his future or in the way things turn out. That was one of the things that I had come up with. The other thing too is that when you don't have one of your resources like your voice, some of your other senses are heightened, and that one might be one of the reasons. So I was thinking about that too. Do you guys think that there was a reason why George definitely put on Ghost the silence, as far as him not being able to make any noise? Why you guys are thinking about that? I wanted to go back to the resource question that I had. Um, and yeah, you don't have to worry about the .com. You could just put whatever it is. So a search for ice and fire. Ion uses that. What's the resource that you use for the number of words in the chapter? I know you've mentioned that before. I forgot about that one. Silence. Oh, speaking of whispering, Angelina will have a cat on the channel probably tomorrow, and I can't remember the cat's name, but if you call it Precious, like the Gollum Precious, then it comes to you. So it's interesting. Ghost could be deaf. Okay, that's true. Yeah, T Baby says the audiobooks are a great resource. Yeah, it's to some extent, I think that's true, but unless you can go right to the chapter names in the beginning, which I don't have. I just have the CDs, so it's kind of hard. Okay, it's the same thing. Ian says. Nice. That's a great resource because you were bringing up the number of times John and I think Maidenhead or Maidenhood or both were in the books, and you're able to give us numbers like right off the top. So very cool. Ghosts are silent. Biotic flux. Yes, that's very true. Marie Hill's here. Hi. Thanks for being here, Marie. Appreciate that. Hope you're having a great day down under. Hope it's not too early for you. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was what's actually in the crypts of Winterfell, and obviously we know that all of the former King of the Norths were there, or the Snows, Kings of Winter, actually, I should say, not the Snows, but they were there, and they have a sword across them, basically, and it says to keep the spirits in the crypts, but the swords are usually made of iron because they go back quite a way in time, and those usually rust out after about 50, 60 years is the average length of time that it takes for iron that's exposed to oxygen to rust out. Of course, if it's near salt, it takes a little bit less time, but that's the average. So we know that that's not really that big of a factor as far as keeping the crypts unghosted, I guess. But yeah, what else is in there? That's a great question. One of the things that's very unusual that's in the crypt is obviously the statue of Lyanna. We see that in the very first episode, the first real chapter in the books as well. And Lyanna is not supposed. There's not supposed to be females there, and the fact that she is, I think, is a big factor. But how that will play out in the books and how that will be brought out, I don't know. More than likely, there's got to be something in the area where her statue is that would be of evidence. And watching the show, I don't think that Sean Bean was given an indication to act nervous. I think he was already been told that the situation with him being hand was enough to make him feel like he was acting nervous. But interesting. Yeah, so I think we'll definitely find something that's important to Jon Snow, because I don't think Bran will be the one that's going to tell him, whether it's in a dream or sending ravens or whatever. But yeah, that was the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Also, I can't remember who it was on YouTube, but they kept saying Viserys instead of Viserys Targaryen, Dany's brother. Do you guys like one or the other, or does it make any difference to you at all? I think Viserys was kind of interesting because it's totally different than the other Targaryen names I've ever heard of. Yeah, the Stark always has to be in Winterfell. I don't think it has to do with the army of the dead. Do you, Alicia? Or do you think it's the because really there is a time when there is no Starks in Winterfell and nothing happens that we know of in the story. I know you classified that or clarified that with a tinfoil tag. So random tinfoil. Yep, that's okay. I'm a tinfoil kind of guy. After listening to Sam's live stream last night, you probably figured that out. You're probably going tinfoil or troll foil. uh, yeah, tell me what you mean by that, Sam. Because if do you think it's this Stark blood, or do you think it's something that the Starks have to do on a regular basis, like feed the werewoods? They didn't. They didn't actually mention that T baby. T baby ask is the Order of the Green Hand think the tree was warging Blood Raven, and I think they were just making him uh, stay there. I think it was the better way of making him stay alive. That is a good point, Marie. But also Rickard and Brandon left as well, and something happened to them. So that might be what they're talking about. Is if you stay in Winterfell, you'll be able to continue the family. That could be. Yeah, a lot of great comments from Marie. The Starks have warg blood in them, which makes them have the ability to, to find out what's going on. But before the beginning of this story, we didn't see them have direwolves for, I think it was 200 years. So that's a possibility. There's something in the crypts, though. But it could. Marie says there is something in the crypts, though, but it could be the Starks hold things together in the north, as we saw once Ned and Robb died, and then the Boltons took over. Yeah, yeah. T baby asked what we were doing, what we were talking about, and I was just basically saying that there was something in the crypts of Winterfell, um, and I'm not sure that it's going to be anything like a harp. If anything, it would be something that they've sent to the Citadel. That would be a declaration of the marriage between Lyanna and Rhaegar, or something like that. Renee M just joined us. All right, thanks for being here. Sorry. The other thing I wanted to ask is, waving back. um, One of the things I wanted to ask you about is MP, when he was on my channel, talked about um, Stannis being a bastard, and possibly Tywin being his father. And I wanted to kind of understand what you guys thought of that. I haven't gotten any comments about that, and I thought that was kind of interesting because um, it doesn't really have a play in the TV show anymore because they're both dead. But I thought that was a huge similarity. I don't know whether that was George um, linking those two, but in the books, they seem an awful lot like the show, and they're both very similar characters. Um, yeah, Renee, I had MP on. MP and Claire Gray, both. It's not the same time, but one right after the other. When I looked at the timeline, we definitely see Stannis having an admiration for Tywin, and Tywin having an admiration for Stannis. Even compared to his own family, he held Stannis in high esteem. Obviously, he didn't want him to be king; otherwise, he would have supported him, and et cetera, et cetera. But I definitely see why MP might have thought that would be a good start. Yeah, so I hope I hope you'll have some interesting comments there. Yeah, I have a feeling that Jamie will die also after he kills Cersei, but that's a different story. Iron Throne says, "Save Jamie." That's funny. I don't know for sure, T Baby, if that's an actual thing, whether she denied sleeping with Littlefinger. But I think it's because she could care less. She knows it didn't happen, so it's almost like in her POVs, it's never something that she's nervous about. Similar to what we talked about the other day, where she was nervous about denying Rob uh, his place in as far as being the Lord of Winterfell, and kind of had a little bit of a conscious effort to make sure that Rob was everybody knew Rob was the older one. Rob was the, going to be the heir, and try to deny John everything. So that's why I don't think um, she did, and she's not worried about it at all. And I think I said that on Sam's last night, where Littlefinger was just drunk and young. Obviously, it was before he was 15 when this happened, so it was something a little more hormonal than I think it was that he planned it that way. But yeah, that's a possibility too. Marie mentioned that Jamie and Tyrion both were saying that Littlefinger had said that to them, and it might be that um, uh, Catelyn just denied the fact that Littlefinger would even say something like that, because she, in her mind, it didn't happen. Why? why? Why do you think she did, T? you just think that she's that kind of a person that anything that bad happens, Catelyn sleeps with Littlefinger. That's funny. I like your comment too, Ion. Hormonal. Oh. Hey, I see Spots. I haven't seen you for a while, so thanks for coming. Appreciate it. How are things in the land of Georgia? You're in Georgia, right? You should do more videos too. I saw a couple of them with your drone footage. That's pretty cool stuff. Well, I think Marie says that I think Kat flirted with Littlefinger, and by flirting, I think what she means is she got him to do stuff for her, and that might be where Littlefinger got his lesson from. Having women do his dirty work, because he definitely got used. Oklahoma, nice. I see. I didn't realize you were in Oklahoma. Are you by OKC? Yeah, you might get some nice video of a Sasquatch that way. It's good stuff. I always like doing that. Renee's taken off. Good to see you. Nice, nice. Stillwater. Isn't Dusty Rhodes a Stillwater resident? Sorry, that was going way back. T Baby's on the Littlefinger Catelyn theory. If her first baby was a sickly young pup that had epileptic fit, I might have agreed with you, T. But yeah, he's definitely not. Um, I don't know. I don't. I just don't see it. Obviously, Lysa for sure, but not. Hmm. Yeah, I agree, Jake. Definitely, Kat got the better of that deal. I mean, she still was able to get him to do anything he wanted. I mean, he brought Ned's bones to her, for God's sakes. So, yeah, absolutely. That wouldn't surprise me if Dusty Rhodes was passed away, but yeah. Yeah, he wasn't very healthy when I watched him back in the armories of Florida. So I can't imagine. Yeah, and his son's pretty old too, Dustin. Sorry to get off topic there, but Stillwater, Texas, that brings back a lot of memories. Or Oklahoma, sorry. Yeah, that's pretty young, Marie. When you're 15 years old and you get attention from girls, I think it's just an awkward situation for both of them. Both, yeah, I think you're right. Spots. I don't think. I think it is Stillwater, Texas, that he's from. So anyway, did mean to get you caught you off guard there. Oh, thanks, Biotic. Yeah, he died June 11th, 2015. Hi, Moni. Thanks for being here. So T Baby's still gonna be on that train of Littlefinger gets Littlefinger gets with Cat. So why do you think that T Baby? As far as what's what's the big deal if they did? I mean, nothing came of it. Um, unless that's the Tansy that her father was moaning about the whole time he was dying. Um, that could be the only thing I could think of. Because he didn't talk about her when she was in the room trying to take care of him. Um, that was another thing that I didn't understand in the books, why they dragged that part on forever, the Catelyn chapters. It's kind of hard to have a Game of Thrones conversation without discussing who slept with who, but um, yeah, that's one of those that I don't see any real big deal other than to pile on with the Catelyn hate, and I don't think we really need any more evidence for why she's not Mother of the Year. Hmm. That's an interesting point, Jake. Hmm. Yeah, Jake says, I don't think Littlefinger would have been following around Cat the way he was if he was able to be with his little sister. um, it's funny. Jay Stevens says Catelyn is a sociopath. It took a few reads to notice chapter 1 involved sex. Yeah, her chapter 1 before she gets the secret letter of Liza. Is that what you mean? That was an interesting awakening, I guess, from Order of the Green Hand when they were talking about that. It's like Catelyn thought of everything, including her brother and sister, while she was having sex with her husband. That was funny part of that video. Yeah, they're about as happy with Catelyn as most of us. Um, is who is the defender in the group of Catelyn? Hmm. Okay. Iron Drone says maybe Ned is boring in bed. Well, one of them is I can tell you that. If she's thinking about her brother and her sister and her father, yeah, I would think one of them's a little boring. That's a good question. I see Spots asked about the involvement in the Iron Bank. Obviously, in the books, especially in Dragons, we see a huge amount of involvement where they're going to Westeros to check on Stannis and his progress. Because he's in the north and King's Landing is not being attacked, or there's no strategic support for that. So it is important, but I don't. I, I I think we'll see that continue in the books, but like Tony Teflon says, um, John's taking over all of Stannis's parts, so there's no real need to, um, burden John with the loan that Stannis has from the Iron Bank. Although he does have Davos, and that might be an issue later on, even if it's not a. Um, that's an interesting question because they definitely don't like having people owe them money because they'll just send someone that they'll pay someone to go get it. So. Well, I think Jay Stevens asks, is Stannis planning to never repay the Iron Bank, and why else sign with blood? You've got to remember, his intention is to do that. He definitely wants to win the Iron Throne and be the king, and et cetera, et cetera. But because he's clogged down in the north, it's it's not an issue that he's trying to avoid. He's just trying to get um, Winterfell won so that he'll have the support of the North. Because if he doesn't, then and he knows that Mance was correct as far as running from the others, then it'll be an issue. Yeah, definitely in the books. I agree. Jake Cruz says in the book, the Iron Bank will play a part still, and I couldn't agree with you more. They're a big part of the Planetos. So the fact that they're um, still being part of the of the story in the books, they're going to be even more so as it gets more and more tense. But in the show, it definitely hasn't happened. That's for sure. Food has been ordered. What are we having? I think you were talking about food last night, weren't you, Alicia? Diners, drive-ins, and dives, if I remember. Yeah, fun. Need a loan from the Iron Bank just to pay for lunch, right? Michael says maybe Ned was thinking about Howland Reed. Oh, you like my Howland Reed theory? Um, well, I'm not a sex expert by any means, but um, it sounded like he was pretty hasty in bed after I think she had five kids. So yeah, quite interesting. I don't know. you know, I haven't found any new evidence other than the fact that, Howland Reed cried, they warred together, et cetera, and they never went and saw each other after that. So, or it's not documented or thought about in POVs or anything like that. Too funny. Well, I am all done. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the comments. And it's been great doing this video. I really wasn't expecting to do one today, but I wanted to let you all know about tomorrow. It should be 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, so it's 1:30 Eastern. Hope you guys can make it. And like I said, Angelina will be here. Um, should be a lot of fun. Angelina, hi, T baby. If you didn't miss that. Speaking of Angelina, I wanted to thank the other people also that have done the 30-day live stream with me. Lav, Broke Black Man 94, Sir LT Giles, Don Willie. Congratulations, Don Willie, on getting the 2,000 mark on your subscribers. That's awful. Awesome. That's awful. Oh, that's funny. James Bichelle, Alicia Kingston, who is with us, of course. The Lord Commander of the Not So Silent Sisters. Laura Macaulay and Jerry the Targaryen Steamboat were on. Tinker Jasso, Claire Gray, Maester Payne, Sam R09, she sounds familiar. T Baby, of course, Kyle's Fucking Chickens, Don the Kraken Wit, who just released his Happy Summer 2016. Pretty happy for me to be with Don the Kraken Wit over the summer of 2016 at the UFC fights in Atlanta. That was a lot of fun. Monero Geek TV, who just put out an epic I'm a Virgin bedtime story. Lady Ashley from The Iron Underneath, and Hiking with Steffi, who was on with Old Nan from Game of Thrones, and they are the She-Wolves, and they did a great job on their last live stream. So I really enjoyed that too. And then Laura Macaulay was on last. So I hope I didn't forget anybody. I really appreciate all your help with the live streams. And Spots ask the important questions. I love it. IC says, best cookie, crispy or chewy? I like both. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. Almost like a cookie brownie. That would be best. Yeah, Chica's Heart asked how Kyle is. He's still suffering from his stomach ulcer. So, best wishes to Kyle. I know he's been trying to get back on the video bug. Hey, Alan Vanderson is here, another Florida guy. Thanks for being here, man. We're talking about food, so it's probably pretty perfect for your timing. So, right. Marie says we have to call them biscuits in Australia. That's funny. I like that. Who's the cookie monster, T? Is it, it's not Icy, or is it Alan? Cookies are not in the books. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I'll ask Angelina tomorrow about the cookies in our live stream. Cockles, not cookies. That's funny. Yeah, I think it's an English passing down of the cookies are cookies. Biscuits are cookies. I'm sorry. I got to learn how to speak. That's true. Cookies should be everywhere. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we don't need any more pillow chat, right? All right, guys. Well, I am going to call it a day. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow. I know we weren't on very long. What do you know, T? You say pillow, and guess who shows up? Mr. One True David. Nice. Thanks, Mr. Adams, for being here. Appreciate it. So tomorrow, again, 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern, we'll have Angelina High. And we're going to be talking Tolkien books from the Silmarillion to the Hobbit, in regards to that transition. And hopefully you guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, grin like a dog, wander aimlessly, and eat dessert first.